everyone, welcome back for another week where I talk about my favorite movies. Thanks for checking these videos out so far. We got about 6 episodes left after this one, so we're excited to see what those movies are going to be. But thanks for anyone who's been watching so far and plans to continue watching and is telling their friends about it and everything. I really appreciate it. But this week I'm going to talk about Saving Private Ryan. Saving Private Ryan came out in 1998, so it's again one of the older movies on this list, even though I don't really consider it an old movie, but it is, 22 years old at this point. But it's a Steven Spielberg film that is one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite war movies. It is one of the best movies made on this list of my favorites. It's one of the best movies ever made in general, according to a lot of people, especially in the war genre. And the first time I watched Saving Private Ryan, I think I was like 13, maybe 13, 14. And I watched it with my brother, and it was like, it was funny because when I first watched it, before we watched it, my dad told my brother and I, it's like, if you can get through the first 30 minutes of the movie, you can get through the rest of the movie. And so we didn't know what he meant by that. But if anybody's seen it, the first 30 minutes is the Omaha beach landing, a part of D-Day. And if you're a history buff like me as well, or like my brother, who actually has a degree in history, it was as successful as the D-Day landings were. The beach landings and the battling in general across that day, from the airborne drops and everything, were very intense and gruesome. It's war, so it's not fun, it's not pretty at any rate, but the sequence is very intense. And war movies, at times, especially during this time period, early on, had always shied away from the extremeness of the gore. You had some movies that were made before this that showed some of the carnage and stuff that happened during different wars and battles and that kind of stuff. But Saving Private Ryan did so in a way that, even if you had seen those more graphic war films before, it still did manage to do it in a way that shocks you and completely throws you off. I don't want to get into the details, but there are definitely moments in that first 30 minutes that, no matter how many war movies or action movies, things that you've seen with any amount of violence and gore and that kind of stuff, that opening sequence will shake you. And I think that's just a good job to the director and the special effects guys that actually made a lot of the practical stuff, and the actors and the stunt guys that all worked to make it feel realistic and to feel like the real thing. And that's the big thing it's known for a lot of people, is just that opening sequence. So yeah, me and my brother were definitely taken back by it. We had actually paused the movie after we got through the first half hour, because it still got a whole 2 hours and 20 minutes after that to get through, and a lot more serious stuff happens in the rest of the movie. You haven't even gotten to the base of the story, just getting through the first 30 minutes of it. But anyway, it's aside from the opening, it's one of the most shocking, brilliant ways to open a movie, by really pulling in your audience with that level of intensity. But aside from that, it's a great war movie because it shows war realistically, but it also humanizes it. And it focuses on these 8 guys who are tasked with finding a soldier who lost all of his brothers in the war up to this point, and they have to deliver that news to him and then bring him back home. And it's a very emotional story as we watch these guys journey to go and find Private Ryan. and we get the chance to get to know them, you know, each of the guys that, like, you know, is sent on this mission. And you know, it's crazy because, like, the military is risking the lives of 8 guys to go and find, you know, 1 guy. And so each of them, you know, has to deal with that, you know, concept of, like, you know, I'm risking my life for somebody else's life. Is my life not more important than theirs? And so the concept of how important is a life, and, you know, one man versus many is, you know, crucial. Is a not necessarily crucial, but a very important theme in this film. But some other things about it, it also deals with friendship, and it deals with, you know, just the different kind of different emotions that men go through with war, and it's just very well done. It's brilliantly acted. It's my favorite Tom Hanks movie from a performance standpoint. I thought he did an excellent job at the role of Captain Miller, but the supporting cast also does really well. You got guys like Tom Sizemore is in it. That's one of his best roles. Vin Diesel makes an appearance in the movie. Actually, he's in the movie for a little bit, not very long, but, you know, he's in it. He has a really good performance as well. Barry Pepper, what's his name? Matt Damon. Almost forgot his name. Matt Damon plays Private Ryan, and he gives a pretty convincing performance there as well. And there are just a lot of other actors that pop up throughout it. Like Paul Giamatti is in it for a hot second. Ted Danson is in it also for a little bit, and, you know, and these are guys that are known for doing sitcoms and that kind of stuff. But, you know, they pop up throughout the movie, and they're very, you know, just across the board, the acting and the cast is cast very well. The performances are realistic and convincing. Of the group of the main guys, you all find someone that you can kind of enjoy or root for as your favorite throughout the film, and that really does a good job of, you know, as things start to happen, giving that emotional tie to the audience as we watch these guys, you know, try and, you know, complete this mission and how dangerous it is. So yeah, that's really the beauty of this movie, is this story that it tells. And, you know, even if you're not a big fan of war movies, it's a very human story that, you know, if you don't watch any other war movies, you know, in your life, I think, you know, you need to watch this one. Not just to give you an idea of what it's actually like, because people have some people have an idea that war is glamorous, you know, and some people have this idea that it's, you know, very, you know, animalistic and, you know, bad and, you know, dehumanizing and that kind of stuff. And it can be all those things, but more importantly, it's a, you know, terrible thing that occurs from time to time in history. But we have to remember that war is fought by human beings, and it's fought by men. And this movie, you know, delves into that, you know, and all the different things that come with it, I think, which is what's really, really cool. And, you know, there are many other things I could go on and on about this movie, but I, you know, try not to go too long, too much more talking about it. But it's a great film, and it's very well constructed, technically speaking as well. It's shot very well. The cinematography is very immersive, as I like to put it. It makes you feel like you're there and experiencing everything that's happening. You can really feel the emotion and the intensity of the different scenes. It's got moments where it's humorous in a very, like, dark kind of way, as humorous as war can get. But it has its moments there where you're definitely going to laugh, and plenty of moments where you're also going to cry too. So it's a movie that, you know, makes you feel emotions, and it makes you feel something, which is, you know, why it's so great, in my opinion. So it's a favorite of mine. First time I saw it, you know, I felt all those emotions and more. It's still one that I like to watch, you know, every year, either around the D-Day anniversary or Memorial Day, just as a reminder of, you know, how bad war is and the sacrifices that men make in war, not just for their country, but for each other, and the sacrifices that men will go through to, you know, rescue another one of their fellow soldiers, and just how honorable that is. So it's a movie that definitely makes you respect, you know, those who had that occupation in the military and as a combat soldier and everything. So yeah, fantastic movie, highly recommended if you've never seen it. Definitely great to watch, you know, during this time of year, you know, around Memorial Day. So if you haven't seen it and you're looking for something to watch this weekend, definitely check it out. Bring the tissues. You know, if you are unsettled by, you know, intense graphic things, definitely, you know, put your seatbelt on for it. But it's definitely worth the watch. It's a long movie, so it's a bit of an investment. It's almost 3 hours, but it's definitely worth every minute of it. And yeah, so that's all for this week, and about Saving Private Ryan. Definitely check it out, and you know, like this video, share it with your friends that you know like Saving Private Ryan, or maybe wanting to check it out. And yeah, thanks again for checking out the video. I'll see you all next week with another one. Take it easy.